In this video, I'll be going through my translation of Huangbo's Wanling Record, Section 4. As you can see, this is a long one, a big chunk. And as usual, I'll be splitting up into the question part, then the answer part. So the question is, okay, Wen asked, probably asked by Pei Xiu. Okay, this is a statue of Pei Xiu. Mind, since it is already originally Buddha. Okay, 心即本来是佛. Okay, 心 is mind. Since it is already originally Buddha. This is in reference to section 2 of Wanling Record, where Huangbo taught that mind is originally Buddha and Buddha is originally mind. So Pei Xiu pick up on this and has some doubts or questions about it. So he said, mind, since it is already originally Buddha, still need to practice the 6 paramitas and 10,000 practices or not? It's a valid question. Okay, the 10,000 practices mean the repeated application of the 6 paramitas. Okay, if you are interested, you can check out my earlier videos where I talk about the 6 paramitas. They are basically crossing over methods or crossing over dharmas, or you can also say the 6 perfections. Is for the bodhisattva path of Parimata Yana, okay, the Parimata vehicle. That means making use of Parimata to prepare for Buddhahood. And supposedly the bodhisattva on such a practice can accumulate merit over kalpas in preparation for Buddhahood. Kalpas is a very, very, very long time. So the question asked is, mind, since it is already originally Buddha, still need to practice the 6 paramitas and 10,000 practices or not? So what is Huangbo's reply? Xiyun, teacher said. So teacher here refers to Huangbo. This is a drawing of Huangbo. Realization is of the mind, not related to the 6 paramitas and 10,000 practices. So it seems like he's saying that the 6 paramitas and 10,000 practices are means to the end, but not the end itself. Okay? The 6 paramitas and 10,000 practices are all transformation doors or methods. Okay, Hua. Some of you might have noticed Hua here. And as I've mentioned in, I think, my video on section 1, okay, the video on section 1, Hua usually relates to the conduit or transformation city mentioned in Lotus Sutra. Okay, it's like a city conjured up in a dangerous area for practitioners to take a rest. Okay, and after that, it will be dispelled again, and the practitioners will move on. So according to Huangbo, the 6 paramitas and 10,000 practices are all transformation doors methods. Side matters of dealing with objects and crossing over beings. Okay, crossing over beings to the other shore, to safety, to liberation from samsara. So in this case, 6 paramitas, you can consider them as ways of dealing with objects. Okay, these are the 6 paramitas: generosity, discipline, endurance, vigor, meditation, wisdom. So to Huangbo, these are considered side matters. Is those who are interested, Chinese is 边事. Side matters. They are like the side dish, not yet the main dish. The presupposition of Bodhi. Bodhi is awakening or enlightenment. Okay, so we have quite a lot of foreign-looking words here. The presupposition of Bodhi, Tatata, Buddhakoti, Moksha, Dhammakaya. So Bodhi already said is awakening or enlightenment. Tatata is usually translated as suchness, thusness. Okay, so in a way, is like reality. Okay, suchness, thusness, or you can say reality. Buddhakoti, sometimes translated as limit of reality. Okay, 实际. Or you can say that which is within the extent of reality. Okay, I'm not too confident what it actually means, but this is my guess. Okay, so it's also related to reality, because that which is within the extent of reality is reality. And then we have moksha, liberation. Okay, 解脱. Okay, liberation usually from samsara. Okay, the cycle of rebirth, liberation, or liberation from afflictions, liberation from obscurations. Okay, moksha. And then Dhammakaya is probably more familiar for those who have watched my previous video. Okay, it's the reality body of Buddha. Okay, one of the 3 bodies of Buddha. So reality, Dhammakaya, Buddhakoti, Tatata are more related to reality, and moksha, liberation, and Bodhi is awakening, enlightenment. So these are technical concepts raised by, brought up in Buddhism. Okay, technical Buddhist terms. Through to the holy position of 10 bhumis and 4 phalas. Okay, again holy. In my earlier video, I've already explained. The holy ones are those who have seen the way. Okay, sort of realize the truth or the partial truth, like that of emptiness, okay, suffering, and so on. So they are the ones who have seen the way. Okay, the 10 bhumis are the 10 grounds of practice towards Buddhahood. And 4 phalas are the 4 fruits of practice towards Arhathood. So these are all considered the holy positions. For bodhisattvas on any of these bhumis, they are considered holy ones or noble ones. Similarly, for any practitioners who have attained any of the 4 fruits or the 4 phalas, they are also considered noble ones, okay, or Arya. All are crossing over doors or methods, not related to the Buddha mind. So Huangbo seems to be saying that all this stuff here, the presupposition of all this stuff here, they are all crossing over doors or methods, and they are all not related to the Buddha mind. So it may seem that there's a duality of crossing over doors versus Buddha mind, and may also give the impression that Zen teachings seem to bypass doors methods. Okay, it seems like Zen teachers like Huangbo is saying that all these, they are just all crossing over doors methods, not related to the Buddha mind. So are they supposed to be discarded, thrown away? Is that what Huangbo really means? And so it's worth asking, what then is not a crossing over door method? What then is related to Buddha mind? Is there anything that is related to Buddha mind? And then is there anything that is not a crossing over door method? Any teachings which are not crossing over door method? I think it's important to look through the text and pick up some of the key terms or key ideas. Okay, 设使 presupposition. I think this is a key term here. Okay, presupposition. What Huangbo is actually saying here is the presupposition of Bodhi, Tathata, Buddhakoti, Moksha, Dhammakaya, the 10 Bhumis, the 4 Phalas, all are crossing over doors methods. Okay, because they are presupposition. If you look through Zen texts, you will realize that often Bodhi is equated to Buddhahood, and Dhammakaya is actually the Buddha mind. This is the goal. It's always been said that Bodhi and Dhammakaya, but yet it's said here that Bodhi, Dhammakaya are not related to the Buddha mind. And the reason is because the presupposition. The problem with teachings are that when you tell people about Bodhi, about Dhammakaya, there's a tendency to just fabricate a view of it. Okay, make it up into a thing to be presupposed. And I guess that's just how people are, such that whatever teachings that you give, it requires some sort of presupposition. So what Huangbo is probably saying is the presupposition of all these things, they are all crossing over doors methods, not related to the Buddha mind. And if you think about it, there's no Buddhist teaching, there's no teaching anyone can give to you which is Buddha mind. Okay, why? Where is Buddha mind? Okay, is it to be found outside? Is it something that someone can give it to you? So even this teaching by Huangbo, or any other teachings given by any other Buddhist teachers, they are all crossing over doors methods. Okay? All are crossing over doors methods. Realization is of the mind. So sometimes when we read texts, like Zen texts like this, we have to be careful not to misinterpret it and think that Huangbo is like looking down on all these things and then say, they are lousy, they are useless, let's throw them all away. No. There may be a more subtle meaning to the things that he's trying to say. Okay? Because if you really think about it, all teachings are crossing over doors methods. Even this teaching by Huangbo. This mind is Buddha. Okay, standard Zen teaching. Therefore, of all various crossing over doors methods, Buddha mind is foremost. Okay, this is actually almost a quote from Lankavatara Sutra. Okay, and it's the claim made in this sutra in Mahamati Bodhisattva's verse to Buddha. Okay, I think it's found in chapter 1 or the first scroll of Lankavatara Sutra. Okay, this is the claim made in there. And it's also the claim repeated by Huangbo. Okay, Buddha mind is foremost. And it's important to note that Lankavatara Sutra is also the sutra used by Bodhidharma. Because this sutra focuses on mind. Okay, the mind talked about by Buddhas. That's why if you read Zen texts, almost always they are talking about mind. Okay, or Buddha mind. So this is the sutra used by Bodhidharma when he came over to the Chinese and started teaching them. Okay, and as I've said earlier, this mind is Buddha because of Lankavatara Sutra. Hence, the Zen schools focus on Buddha mind. And in a way, you can say it's probably fast. Okay, such a teaching. This mind is Buddha, as compared to Paramita's practice, which is supposed to take over kalpas. For those who are not sure what a kalpa is, one kalpa is actually the time taken from the creation of a world all the way through to the end. So it's a very, very long time. Okay, the creation of a universe until the end of the universe. And Paramita's practice is supposed to take place through many kalpas. Even for the 10 bhumis, it's probably going to take a long time, where you clear stage by stage or ground by ground the different levels of bodhisattva training, and even the 4 phalas, the 4 fruits. Okay, they take a while for you to clear. But this teaching, this mind is Buddha. Right here, right now, this mind is Buddha. 心即是佛. Okay, 即. Right here, right now. So the premise or the promise seems to be that with this teaching, Buddha mind, this mind is Buddha. Right here, right now, you can realize it. Okay, it's not something that someone gives it to you. It's your own mind. Okay, realization of this mind of yours, which is Buddha. So it's fast, you can say it's fast. And maybe that's why it's rather attractive, this teaching, to some Buddhists. Okay, this mind is Buddha. But to be noted is, as foremost as claimed to be, Buddha mind is still considered a crossing over door method. Okay, of all various crossing over doors methods, Buddha mind is foremost. So it's still a crossing over door, still a crossing over method. Just like all other crossing over doors or crossing over methods. It's the same, Buddha mind. Just as I said earlier, maybe it holds the promise to be the fastest. Okay, right here, right now, this mind is Buddha. Therefore, it's important for us to understand that there are no dharmas, Buddhist teachings, which are not crossing over doors methods. Okay, whatever teaching that is given, you can say it's actually a crossing over door method. It's like the finger pointing to the moon. Okay, all teachings are expedients, methods to crossing over. Okay, there are doorways, pointers, and realization is not a random, spontaneous event. Okay, it requires such expedients, pointers, or doorways. And what's to be realized is not the teachings. That's why we have to understand the finger is not related to the moon. Okay, the expedients are not Buddha mind. Okay, the finger is not related to the moon. What's to be realized is not the teachings, okay, but what the teachings mean. Just like finger pointing to the moon, we should not be focusing on the finger. We should be tuning to what the finger is pointing to. But the problem, as with all pointers, is that there's a tendency for people to latch on to the pointing finger, which you can say is conventionally more prominent. People only notice the finger and thus mistake the finger for the moon. It's like some of the koans, okay, or Zen cases. People start to read through the case and latch on to some of the wordings and try to make interpretations of it. Okay, so that is the problem with finger pointing to the moon. So they start to make all sorts of interpretation, okay, based on the finger, like the koans or Zen cases, that's the finger. And they make all sorts of interpretation, generate all sorts of view, and some even go on to wax eloquently on and on, like in a learned manner, of what the koan's supposed to be, what it means, and they'll try to explain it to you in a seemingly satisfactory manner. But koans in general should not be explained. Okay, they are meant to arouse doubt, arouse suspicion that there's more than meets the eye, and it's a finger that points to the moon. It's to allow us to realize our own Buddha mind. And this mind is Buddha. Similarly, okay, it's an expedient. The teaching isn't to establish any form of mind, or any view of Buddha, or any view of mind, or Buddha mind. What's the point of the teaching? Okay, is to cease all seeking and fabrication. It cease all interpreting and elaboration. Okay, like the clouds, once it's all cleared, and the moon is there. Okay, when the clouds come and block the moon, it doesn't mean that the moon is gone. You have to generate or create a moon. No, the moon is still there, just that it's been blocked, obstructed, obscured. So as long as we can cease all seeking and fabrication, cease all interpreting and elaboration, the obscuration will be gone. And whatever is originally there will be realized, will be seen. Earlier on, we talked about the Lankavatara Sutra. Okay. Now we talk a little bit about the Diamond Sutra style. Okay. Attainment of non-attainment. As I said earlier, this mind is Buddha. You can say it's inspired by the Lankavatara Sutra. Okay. Hence the Zen focus on mind and Buddha. But you notice Zen teachers like Ma-Zu, initially he thought this mind is Buddha. Later on he thought neither mind nor Buddha. Okay, this mind is Buddha is to help cease all seeking. Okay, or you can say to stop the child's crying. But the problem is sometimes this teaching can lead one to cling on to the so-called finger, and then they establish all sorts of view about mind and Buddha, and as if there's an existent mind, there's an existent Buddha. So Ma Zu later on goes on to teach that neither mind nor Buddha, 非心非佛, such that mind is taken away, Buddha is taken away. Neither mind nor Buddha. So in a way you can say it's like a attainment of non-attainment. For those who are familiar with Diamond Sutra, you will come across such a formulation pretty often. Okay, attainment of non-attainment. Okay, this mind is Buddha, neither mind nor Buddha. How about Huangbo? Okay, Huangbo in this text, the Wanling Record, he said, this mind is Buddha. Okay, similarly, this is to cease all seeking, to help us cease all seeking, and to help us realize that right here, right now, this mind is Buddha. But he goes on to also say, no mind is the way. So first there is mind, then there is no mind. So is there mind or no mind? Or is it a mind of no mind? Okay, an attainment of non-attainment. So this is the Diamond Sutra style formulation, popular later on in the Zen schools. And for those who are familiar with the Zen lineage narrative, Bodhidharma first taught using the Lankavatara Sutra. And supposedly later on, after passing on to the second ancestor, third ancestor, fourth ancestor, to the fifth ancestor, to Hongren, the fifth Zen ancestor, Hongren. From Lankavatara, he started switching to Diamond Sutra. Okay, supposedly Hongren is said to favor this Diamond Sutra. You can read more about it in the Platform Sutra of the sixth Zen ancestor, Huineng. Okay, there will be an interesting scene where he's supposed to paint his temple, or at least decorate the walls with Lankavatara stories. And later he said something about, no, let's just leave it, let's not draw it anymore. Okay, leave it blank, Diamond Sutra style. So other than Ma Zu and Huangbo style, there are also some other Zen teachings that give nothing to latch on to. Because when you say this mind is Buddha, people will cling on to the existence of mind, existence of Buddha. Then if you are like Ma Zu, you say neither mind nor Buddha, people will cling on to the non-existence of mind, non-existence of Buddha. Whatever way they have things to latch on to cling on to, be it existent or non-existent. And so there are some other Zen teachings that give nothing to latch on to. You can call them head scratchers. For those who are familiar with Zen cases or koans, sometimes you will read stuff and you have absolutely no idea what's going on. It gives you nothing to latch on to, nothing to hold on to. Okay, that's the Zen style of Buddhist teaching. So coming back to the text, this mind is Buddha. Therefore, of all various crossing over doors methods, Buddha mind is foremost. Then Huangbo goes on to say, just as long as there is no mind. So at first he said there is Buddha mind, this mind is Buddha. Now he goes on to say, just as long as there is no mind. So what sort of mind? No mind of birth and death, and kleshas, etc. The kleshas are mental afflictions that cloud the mind's nature. They're usually translated as defilements, taints, or poisons. So they afflict the mind, they cloud the mind. Some of you might know the three poisons of Buddhism. Okay, the first one is greed or lust. Second one is aversion or hatred or anger. The last one, the third one is delusion or confusion or ignorance. So all these are klishas. Okay, they defile or detain, or you can say they are mental afflictions that cloud the mind's nature. So what is Buddha mind? Buddha mind is when there are no minds of birth and death, no minds of klishas, okay, or any sort of other minds. Okay, mind of delight, mind of disgust. There are no such minds. Then there is no need for dharmas or bodhi and tathata, etc. So earlier on, there's a presupposition of bodhi, tathata, and so on. They are all crossing over doors or crossing over methods. Because what are they supposed to be used for? They are dharma doors. And the 84,000 dharma doors counter the 84,000 klishas. So whatever sort of mind you have, there is a dharma you can use to counter it. Okay, this line is actually from Essential Dharma of Mind Transmission. Okay, section 1, part 22. The Essential Dharma of Mind Transmission is another text of Huangbo. Okay, a recorded sayings of Huangbo. So it's important to understand that the teachings, okay, the dharmas, are for countering the minds of birth and death, and klishas, etc., and all sorts of minds. And the reason is because Buddha mind basically is the absence of all sorts of mind. Okay, like minds of birth and death, or minds of klishas, and all sorts of mind. It's the mind of no mind. So the formulation by Huangbo is, this mind is Buddha, this mind is Buddha. No mind is the way. Okay? Mind of no mind. So it's like the attainment of non-attainment. Okay? What is it you need to attain? You need to attain non-attainment. So the formulation here you can realize is like the Lankavatara plus Diamond Sutra style. So this is like the Zen style teaching. So just as long as there's no mind of birth and death and klishas, etc., then there's no need for dharmas or bodhi and tathata. So should a person not have such problems, then there's no need to give them such teachings. Okay? Don't create a problem where there's none. Don't be a shit stirrer. So it's important that we try not to play teacher, evangelistic style teacher, when no one comes to you for advice on their problem. Don't go around giving them irrelevant teachings. Okay, so don't create a problem where there is none. Especially like for Zen, some people will try to go around promoting all the Zen koans and say, you need this, you need that. No. As long as the people do not come to you for help with their problems, there's actually no need for us to give them such teachings. At least this is how I feel. Okay, don't be a shit stirrer. Therefore it is said. Whenever we see such a phrase in Wanling Record, most likely Huangbo is going to quote either a sutra or sastra or quote some other Buddhist monks. So therefore it is said, Buddha speaks all types of Dharma to cross over all types of my mind. Okay, this is what we have understood earlier. different dharmas to counter different minds. I have none of any type of mind, so why make use of any type of dharma? Like what we said earlier, the person does not have any such problems. There's no need to give them such teachings. Okay, I have none of any type of mind, so why make use of any type of dharma? This is a Zen style. And this quote, interestingly, is supposedly attributed to the sixth ancestral teacher, Huineng, Liu Zu Huineng, as according to the preface of the text, compiled explanations of Zen source, written by Guifeng Zongmi. Okay, this quote actually came from Guifeng Zongmi, and Guifeng Zongmi attributed it to Huineng. But this popular Zen quote, okay, you can find this quote in quite a few Zen texts. This Zen quote cannot be found in any of the extant version of Six Ancestors Platform Sutra. Okay, I tried searching for it in the Platform Sutras I know. I can't actually find it. Okay, so it's a mystery. As some other Zen teachers in Tang Dynasty claim, the Platform Sutra has been tempered or edited or changed in ways that are has been changed. Okay, so maybe it used to be in the earlier version. I'm not too sure, but it can't be found anymore. But it's still in found in this text, Compiled Explanations of Zen Source by Guifeng Zongmi. And for those who are familiar with Guifeng Zongmi, you will know that he's also a teacher of Pei Xiu. Okay, just as Huangbo is a teacher of Pei Xiu, Guifeng Zongmi is also a teacher of Pei Xiu. And it might be Guifeng Zongmi who actually introduced Pei Xiu to Huangbo. Maybe not physically, but he might have mentioned about the Zen school. Okay, because Guifeng Zongmi is like a scholar. And if you read the title of this text, it's called Compiled Explanations of Zen Source. Okay, it talks about all the different Zen school. Okay, we continue on with the translation. From Buddhas to the ancestral teachers. Okay, Zu. Zu is our ancestor. Some people translate it as patriarch. Okay, but patriarch only refers to men, which in a way also is true. All the ancestral teachers seems to be men. Okay, but I prefer to translate it as ancestor or ancestral teachers. So from Buddhas to the ancestral teachers, the narrative of Zen lineage actually goes as such. First, you have the Buddhas, one of them, one after another, transmitting the Dharma transmission down to finally the Shakyamuni. And Shakyamuni will transmit the Dharma on to Mahakassapa. Okay, and he will transmit down 28 Indian ancestors, with the 28th one Bodhidharma, who supposedly came from the west referring to India, came from the west to China, and transmit the Dharma on to the 6 Chinese ancestors. Okay, so this is the narrative of the Zen lineage. And the 6th one is Huineng. Huineng does not do a single lineage anymore. He transmitted the Dharma and had quite a few Dharma heirs. So it became very complicated, the Zen lineage, from Huineng onwards. Before Huineng is always one-to-one. the Dharma transmission. If from Buddhas to the ancestral teachers, their teachings are not based on any other matters. So what matters? They are based only on the one mind, also called the one vehicle. So instead of the different sort of vehicles uh, like the Sravaka Yana, the Sravaka vehicle, or any other sort of vehicle like the Mantra Yana, Mantra vehicle, okay, the Zen ancestral teachers, their teachings are based only on the one mind, also called the one vehicle. And this one vehicle is what's taught in the Lotus Sutra. So Zen teachers are following the teachings of Lotus Sutra to say that all these teachings are all based on the one vehicle. Therefore, even in 10 directions of all Satyas sought, I'm not too sure how to pronounce this, okay, Satyas. Satyas are truths or Buddhist dharmas. Okay, like the famous Four Noble Truths, the four Arya Satyas. Arya is noble, Satya is truth. So here Huangbo said, therefore, even in 10 directions of all Satya sought, there is no other or extra vehicle. Everything is, all the Buddhist teachings, they are all the Buddhist truths, they are all the one vehicle. There's no other vehicle. Okay, you can have a Vajrayana, so-called the diamond vehicle, or you can have the Shravakayana, okay, the sound hearers vehicle. All these vehicles are actually the one vehicle. They all belong to one. And again, if you see therefore here, this line here is actually a quote from the Lotus Sutra, famous for classifying all Buddhist teachings as under one vehicle, Hikayana, and that all teachings are expedients, upaya. So initially, people, when they study Buddhism, they may be quite confused by all the different teachings that seemingly contradict one another. But Lotus Sutra say that all these teachings are expedients, they are all upaya. All the teachings actually come under the one vehicle. They may seem contradictory because the teachings given by Buddha are taught based on who the listener or the audience are, or who the students are. Okay, it's like a customized teaching catered to the capacity of the student. So even though they may seem contradictory, but they are just all expedients, temporary measures, crossing over doors, crossing over methods. Okay, temporary use, provisionally established for the sake of helping the student. And all these teachings are actually parked under the one vehicle, the Hikayana. So it's quite a powerful idea that can unite all the Buddhist teachings together, even as contradictory as they may seem, because they are all just provisionally established. And if we realize the truth of emptiness, we will appreciate how all these teachings are actually expedients, provisionally established. Okay? These myriad satyas have no branches and leaves, only the yata bhuta of them all. Yata bhuta means actuality or reality. So these truths, they have no branches and leaves, only the actuality of them or the reality of them. And Hence, the meaning of this is hard to believe or trust. Okay, why? Because without branches and leaves, without the trunk, without any prominent thing to see, it can't be seen or grasped or found. Okay, this Buddha mind is, it has no branches and leaves, nothing sticking out, proliferating, so it can't be seen, grasped or found. If they can't be seen, grasped or found, how then can the meaning be trusted? How many can have faith of that which can't be known? Okay, it's like you tell someone that you have found a unicorn, but no one else can see it. How can people trust that? Okay, that's the difficulty of this. Okay, these myriad truths have no branches and leaves, only the actuality of them all. Hence, the meaning of this is hard to believe, trust. And so that is the difficulty of Buddhism. How because people usually only have trust after having experienced it. Okay, like the unicorn example. Only after they have seen it, then they will trust you. They will trust that there is this unicorn. But the problem with this Buddha mind is that it can only be experienced through absolute trust of it. And yet people usually only have trust after having experienced it. If they have not experienced it, they don't trust it. And if they don't trust it, they cannot experience it. So how? How to put trust in something you've never experienced before? It's a challenge, it's difficult. And I guess it's a similar problem faced by religions in general. Okay? Especially religions that require trust or faith. How do you put trust in something you've never experienced before? Bodhidharma came to this land. Okay? Bodhidharma here, the common depiction of him. So Bodhidharma came to this land. Huangbo is in Tang Dynasty. So it's a saying that the land of the Chinese. To the two countries of Liang and Wei, or the two kingdoms of Liang and Wei. So what are these two countries? So based on Liang and Wei, we can know that it's during the northern southern dynasties. Okay, where Liang is the southern Liang and Wei is the northern Wei. So the popular story goes that Bodhidharma first went to southern Liang to meet with Emperor Wu, Liang Wuti, okay, Emperor Wu. And of course the famous saying of what merit is there, and so on and so forth. And after the dialogue, Bodhidharma left southern Liang, went up north to Shaolin Temple. Okay, Shaolin Temple is in northern Wei, okay, in the country of the northern Wei. And supposedly he sat in the temple for facing the wall, supposedly in a cave, facing a wall for 9 years, until the important guy Hui Ke came. Okay, and the Dharma was transmitted to Hui Ke. So this is the rough story. Bodhidharma came to this land, to the two countries of Liang and Wei. Only great teacher Hui Ke, this one person. So this is a picture I found. Bodhidharma here in Shaolin Temple, sitting in a cave, facing the wall. And Hui Ke is this monk here. Supposedly he requested Bodhidharma to teach, failed to get Bodhidharma to teach, or at least that's what he thought. And so he stood outside and waited in the snow for days. And according to the story, eventually he cut off his own arm, and that gesture touched Bodhidharma in his sincerity of wanting to know the Buddha Dharma, okay, in understanding the Buddha mind. And that was when Bodhidharma gave him a teaching, supposedly. So Bodhidharma came to this land, to the two countries of Liang and Wei. Only great teacher Hui Ke, this one person, had intimate trust faith in mind itself, realizing immediately upon the words being said. So after Buddha Dharma gave some words, Hui Ke realized it immediately, okay, because he had intimate trust and faith in mind itself. Okay, realizing immediately upon the words being said, this mind is Buddha. So, of the many people who tried to get teachings from Bodhidharma, like Emperor Liang Wuti, Emperor Wu of the Southern Liang, supposedly only Hui Ke is the only one who succeeded in realizing. Okay. So the issue here is Xing. Okay? Either belief or trust faith. Only Hui Ke had intimate trust faith. So it's an important issue in Buddhism, and is also highlighted often in Zen texts. Okay, trust faith. Some of you may know the poem by the so-called third Zen ancestor, faith in mind or trust in mind, Xing Xing Ming. So what is trust faith? I think it's like we humans have the capacity to float in water. As long as we take a deep breath, hold the breath, and relax and be still, we won't sink to the bottom of the water. But the problem is, do we trust that we will float and not drown? For those who have experienced or still remember the first time going into a swimming pool, I'm not sure whether you had fear, whether you panic, whether you struggle. Because I have seen quite a lot of children trying to learn swimming, and some panic and struggle desperately to grasp and cling onto something. Okay, when they are into the water, you see their arms flailing around, and they are instinctively resisting. Okay, flailing their arms, kicking around, and then they start gasping. And once they start gasping, they can't hold their breath anymore, and they will start gulping. And when you're in the water, when you gulp, the water will go in through your mouth or through your nose, and then you will start choking. So that's the problem. And that's why for most people, they are first taught to hold on to the side, okay, like the swimming pool, if there are poles here, or the side walls of the swimming pool. They are first taught to hold on to the side, familiarize themselves with the water by submerging their heads in. Okay, so probably she'll put her head into the water while holding on to something, and blow bubbles first. Because in the water, you can exhale, you can blow air out, you can blow bubbles, but it's highly recommended that you don't inhale, you don't take a deep breath in, okay, because all the water will go in. If your head is in the water, you're submerged. So this is to get you familiarized with the water, how it works, and later on, students who are learning swimming, probably they'll be given floats, okay, like this board here, or sometimes they have a vest, or sometimes they have like a circular donut-shaped hoop that you can put around the waist. Or for some children, sometimes they have those floats that are tied around the arms. Okay, then you can use the floats to move around. So for those who don't quite have the trust and faith yet, there are actually devices to help them, okay, to calm them down, to relax them. And so this is a teaching in Essential Dharma of Mind Transmission, 1 part 7. Okay, again is a text by Huangbo. It's a text of Huangbo sayings. Okay, this is a quote that I like. Those who rely on things do not dare enter this Dharma, for fear of falling into an emptiness that's devoid of places to perch and anchor on. They see the cliff edge and retreat. Instead, one following after another, they go seeking everywhere for conceptual knowledge. Instead of plunging into this emptiness, where there's nothing to perch, to grasp, to cling, to anchor on. And so when they see the cliff edge, they retreat. And instead they go seeking everywhere for conceptual knowledge, which is something that you can hold on to, you can cling to. So it's like those Zen koans. Instead of making use of it to enter the Buddha Dharma, okay, the Dharma of mind, and they actually try to interpret it, find some meaning they can grasp onto to understand what the koan is about. Okay, so they go seeking everywhere for conceptual knowledge. So that's the issue. Okay, unless you have trust, you have faith. If not, once you're at the cliff edge, do you actually dare to plunge down? Okay, so those who rely on things do not dare enter this Dharma. Okay, this is from Zen teacher Danxia Zicun. Danxia Zicun is the teacher of Hongzhi Zhengjue. Okay, Hongzhi Zhengjue is famous for his silent illumination meditation. Okay, a form of meditation of the Caotong branch or the Soto branch. Okay, Hongzhi Zhengjue. Hongzhi Zhengjue is also famous for compiling Zen koans. Okay, his compilation is later taken up by Wansong Xingxiu and commented upon. And this commentary of this compilation of Zen koans is called Book of Serenity. Okay, so Hongzhi Zhengjue is also famous for Book of Serenity. So Danxia Zicun is the teacher of Hongzhi Zhengjue. So Zen teacher Danxia Zicun said, "Let go thoroughly all present concerns. To the dead wood hall, go sit coldly. You must die a turn, yet from this death be also established. Therefore it is said, when dangling at the cliff's edge, take it upon yourself to release the grip. This revival from termination, cessation, is indeceivable." So what this is said is, when dangling at the cliff's edge, you got to take that faith to take it upon yourself to release the grip. Okay, and in doing so, you will die a turn. and yet from this death be also established, okay, or be revived. And this revival from termination, cessation, or this so-called death is indeceiveable. Okay, there may be pretenders who say that they have realized or be awakened or enlightened, but those who have actually gone through the so-called great death or termination cessation and is revived from it, is indeceiveable. Zen teachers will test and look at you, and they will know whether you are truly enlightened or truly awakened, or you have seen the way. Okay, so this is what Zen teacher Tan Xia Zicun said. Okay, to the deadwood hall, go sit coldly. Okay, you sit till you are dangling at the cliff's edge, and then you take it upon yourself to release the greed. But of course, for most of us, we probably have to work first towards getting to the cliff edge, or to the so-called top of the 100-foot pole, before we can take that leap of faith and release everything. So back to the text about intimate trust and faith in mind itself. Only great teacher Hui Ke had this intimate trust, faith in mind itself, realizing immediately upon the words being said that this mind is Buddha. So it's with faith, one can go straight to it by relinquishing all assistive devices. Okay, faith. So in a way, Zen style education, you relies on faith and also on a pivotal function mentioned earlier on in one of the videos. So with pivotal function and with faith, it seems that one supposedly can go straight to it. Okay, the pivotal function works as a sort of Dharma door, entryway, and then with faith, one goes through it, okay, by relinquishing everything. So upon releasing everything, there will be the complete absence of body and mind. Okay, 身心俱无. And this complete absence of body and mind sort of reminds of Dogen's experience of realization upon hearing his teacher Ru Jing's admonition on stripping off body and mind with regards to sitting meditation. Although Ru Jing was scolding some other monks, Dogen happened to hear it, and although they were all together doing sitting meditation, but Dogen, upon hearing Ru Jing scolding, stripping off body and mind, he had an experience of realization. And later on, Dogen visited Ru Jing, and there was an ensuing dialogue. And through this dialogue, Dogen understood also the meaning of temporary devices as taught by Ru Jing. Okay, so it's quite an interesting koan. Okay, interesting Zen case. Complete absence of body and mind. It's named the Great Way. So there's no body, no mind. It's associated with Great Way. The Great Way is originally even, equal. Okay, 平等, even, equal. Therefore, have deep faith that all which hold life have the nature of same one trueness. So again, if you see, therefore, there's a possibility that the line following is a quote. So in this case, it's a quote from Bodhidharma's 2 entries, 4 practices, in which Bodhidharma states that there are essentially only 2 types of entry to the way. Okay, entry by principle and entry by practice. So entry by practice is, he suggested 4 practices. Okay, but probably other people will suggest there are other forms of practice. Okay, but Bodhidharma suggested 4 practices. If you're interested, you can check out this text. But this quote is from the entry by principle part. So what is entry by principle? According to Bodhidharma, is Buddhist teachings are used to realize the source. Okay, have deep faith in the Buddhist teachings to realize the source. This is entry by principle. And this quote seems pretty much like the teaching in Lankavatara Sutra, okay, on the idea that all which whole life have the nature, okay, and that they are all the same one trueness. So this is Bodhidharma's teaching. And Huangbo goes on to say that mind and nature does not differ. Okay, following on the idea of the same one trueness, mind and nature does not differ. This nature is this mind. So when mind and nature, they do not differ, this nature is this mind. Mind that does not differ from nature, which is this nature is this mind, is named as ancestor, or the ancestral teacher, 祖. Okay, so it's a important motif of Zen teachings in relation to mind. Okay, a lot of times we will read or see Zen koans that sort of hint or talk about ancestor. A lot of times the ancestor seems to refer to Bodhidharma, but there's a deeper, subtle meaning to ancestor, which is that of mind. And not just any other mind, is the mind where mind and nature does not differ. And this nature is this mind is actually the same as this mind is the Buddha. So this is a helpful motif often found in koans. Therefore it is said, okay, we are going to get a quote again. Upon recognizing the mind nature, what's inconceivable can then be spoken. Okay, this quote is actually from a gatha spoken by the Indian 23rd Zen ancestral teacher. Not sure how to pronounce this. Hakle Nyasas. Okay, and it's spoken to the 24th Zen ancestral teacher, Simha Bodhi. So, upon recognizing the mind nature, upon recognizing that mind is Buddha, what's inconceivable can then be spoken. Previously, it's inconceivable, and it seems like there's no way to speak about it. But once you realize it, what's inconceivable can then be spoken. And that's how the Dharma transmission sort of work, okay, down the lineage of Zen, where different Zen teachers will sort of say different things, and the student will somehow be awakened, or at least seen the nature, seen the way. Okay, upon recognizing the mind nature, what's inconceivable can then be spoken. So that's all we have for this section. It's quite a long one. Thank you for watching it.